So what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Movement 6, and first of all, a huge thank you to all you guys who subbed this week. I always do it. It really means a lot to me, so thank you very much for that. If you're new here, drop a like, comment. Everything is appreciated, and of course your sub is the highest appreciation I will have for you guys. Today's video is just to show you guys what I've been investing in. The months ahead of me is going to be a game changer in how I use the channel, what I'm going to bring as content, how I'm going to bring the content, but I'm also stepping up on my streaming activities on Twitch. So if you want to follow me on Twitch, you will gradually see an increase there in content as well. So in the past few weeks, I have invested a lot, really a lot. In terms of hardware, yes, predominantly in software, but also in presentation and workflow. I have decided to make a real distinction between my production and my music side and my video editing and my content creation from a gaming perspective. Now, don't get me wrong, there needs to be a few disclaimers here before we get into the actual video, right? What I've learned in the music business, and I've been DJing since I was about 14, producing since I'm 17, 18, somewhere around there. So it's well over 25 years of music, right? Well over. Maybe even pushing 30 now. I'm an old geezer. But there are a few things you need to bear in mind. First of all, it's the ear, not the gear. That's what you learn in music. That means that you don't need a multi-million-dollar studio environment to create content. Take what you have, optimize the hell out of it, and then gradually expand in things you need, not what you want. Don't look at those YouTube creators with huge studios from, oh, I need that, and otherwise I can't do it. I've decided to push into YouTube, Twitch, gaming, maybe a year and a half ago. There is a reason why I wanted to do it. I love creating content, I love being creative, and I wanted to explore that side because gaming in general and technology in general is just a huge part of my life. And I want to share that in terms of music, producing, gaming, DJing, everything, right? So it's the ear, not the gear, That goes for streaming and content creation as well. Now, today's video is to show you guys a quick tour on what's there from a visual presentation part, but also from a hardware perspective, what I'm running, how I'm running it, right? So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Give me a like, tips, tricks. I'm really keen on understanding how you guys are streaming, how you guys are creating content. We can all learn from each other, right? So let's get into the video right now. So as you can see, the entire look and feel of the channel, the presentation, the visualizations are, well, gotten a complete overhaul. I think it's really important to have a visual presentation that meets not only your own expectations, but also gives a look and feel of the channel, right? A feeling of the channel is also a visual presentation right here. So I hope you guys like it. There is tons of things that I'm building upon, so we can go from this to this, this is more the discussion area, and the other was more the area where I can stream on and game on. This is the visual presentation that I've invested in, and I'm trying to give a bit more depth and professionalism in my channel. Before we get into the studio and how everything looks, I do want to bring a few things to your attention. And one of those things is, if you're a starting streamer and if you want to go out there, please visit a few channels. Maybe you've heard it, maybe you don't, but one of the channels that I've been sub to, I think about a year and a half ago, is Alpha Gaming. This guy really helped me understand what is needed, but also understand where to start and how to start. It's a channel that had tons of tips and tricks, from easy things like running OBS in administrator modus to what kind of PC you need and how to build it and everything in between. Alpha Gaming is your channel to go. The other one you should be really focused on is Nick Nimmin. This guy has dedicated an entire YouTube channel to YouTube video tips. Everything is in there, even how to make thumbnails, some pointers, but also a very good pointers on what apps you can use to create videos or to really optimize your entire presentation. So alpha gaming and nicknaming is something I recommend highly for you guys if you want to start streaming or you want to understand more on what is needed to run a YouTube channel. Please go out and reach out to these guys. Now let's just push forward and let's show you guys what I've been investing in terms of studio modus. Here we go. So the studio I've been investing in the last period or so is something I'm really passionate about on how it looks, how it feels, and what it can bring. So again, the purpose of today is not to show off with all the stuff I have. I think I have a bit too much stuff here, but the purpose is to show you what you can utilize, how it runs together, and what I'm using to get things out there and to increase the professional videos I want to share with you guys, but also what I'm doing from a musical perspective, right? So I will pause a few times to also show you guys on some hardware specs and what I'm running here. So the studio here you're seeing is, of course, I love my metal prints from Horizon Zero Dawn, Batman, Spider-Man. I'm so in love with photo modus in games, I can't stop doing that. And of course we've got some nerd alert going on with Star Wars, Lego, and a Batman cheat code book for the PlayStation 4. Now what we're starting here is with the production side. One of the things that is very close to the heart and will always be close to the heart is vinyl. And for vinyl, it is very important that you are running a turntable that is meeting specifications in terms of torque, but also that it has some weight to it. And with that, I mean, if you've got a very cheap and lightweighted turntable, then eventually you will hear the sound of you tapping on a wooden table or whatever through the needle into your sound. So what I've done is done some thorough investigation. I've started DJing when I was about 14 years old, maybe a bit sooner than that, but I come from the vinyl era. So my vinyl is everything to me, right? I love playing vinyl sometimes. I love going through my old records. So vinyl always will have an integrated part in my studio. But the Technics are way overpriced nowadays, and the chances that I will play a vinyl set out there is slim to none. So I went for the Reloop RP7000s, and the Reloop RP7000s are the best, powered by Rocket RP5, but the RP7000s is one of the best turntables currently out there besides Technics. The reason is quite simple. The RP7000 has the exact same engine or torque or whatever you want to call it as the old Technics, because there was a time that the patent was lost for Technics and Reloop was very quickly in absorbing that and putting it in there. So if you close your eyes and you start DJing with these Reloops, it is 99.9% exactly the same as you would expect from a Technic machine. So I'm really in love with the machines. I think they've done an excellent job of hitting the old feeling I always had with my turntable. Reloop RP7000 is something I could highly recommend for any of you guys want to develop yourself in DJing with vinyl. I think it's still the necessity for every DJ to at least learn to DJ with with vinyl, because that is really showing the real way of DJing, right? So moving on to more digitalized nowadays turntables. These are the XJJs thousands. No CD loading in this machine. It's identical to the CDJs 2000 Nexus, fully digitalized, USB compatible of course, but fully digitalized. You can put it in hit mode, you can hook it up with an USB directly into your laptop, and you could use it to manipulate Tractor or any other DJing software, maybe even provided by Pioneer itself, record box of course. But I went for the XDJs, fantastic machines. Layout, if you go to a club and you play with the CDJs 2000 and the Nexus, you will feel right at home with these machines. So there's no front drawer, no CD drawer. It's just purely digitalized DJing there. Now we're moving on to the RMX 1000s Pioneer remix stations. This is just for effect processing when I'm DJing, right? All the sound goes in a in and out sequence through there. You can manipulate echoes, sounds. You can put SD cards in there with your own sounds. You can even use it via USB to hook it up to Ableton and use it in a production environment or in a live environment if you so choose so. It's a fantastic machine, so I could highly recommend it still for everyone, right? Moving on to the mixer side, the Xone PX5. This for me was a matter of choice because one of the biggest issues I always had is that I failed to invest in strong hardware mixer in my studio. I always had those cheap mixers, but that also holds you back in terms of quality. You need to buy frequently new ones. I never paid attention. Of course, in the club you play on Pioneers, which is club standard, and one of the other club standards is Allen and Heat. I went through a pretty thorough investigation, and the Xone or Allen and Heat in general stood out on all sides in terms of sound card on board, but also in terms of the connectivity it has to software on your laptop. You can easily hook it up to your laptop and it will be recognized instantly without anything to download, no drivers needed. Especially on MacBook, it is plug and play, and that is where I still will always use Mac OS is for DJing and production. And for DJing, you get your Xone, you get your XDJs, hook it up to your laptop, and you're free to go and fire. The sound card it's phenomenal. The sound that it produces is so deep, so beautiful, and so crispy, and it's fantastic. I would recommend this over a Pioneer any day. And I thought I would never said it, but this Xone PX5 really stole my heart in terms of connectivity, sound, but also how the entire mixer operates when you're DJing. So I could recommend this one to all of you guys. So moving on to the Mini Core Chaos Pad. It's an analog machine that I use. I just love what it's got on board. It's not that exciting. It's just a nice to have. The X1 for record box, and of course the RP5s as monitoring solutions. So all in all, guys, this is just from DJing. It's highly optimized for both analog DJing and digital using. You can do everything you want. USB, going live, manipulating your laptop via softwares. It's got everything you need for the modern DJ, I would say. So this is just the DJ side of the studio. Now moving on to a crossover between the gaming, video streaming, but also the production here. So this is just the base PlayStation 4. I've got a PlayStation 4 Pro downstairs because I just bought the Q950R from Samsung, which is the 8K entry you got for 8K. I think it's a fantastic and phenomenal machine. Maybe we can do a review about that once for a change. But I moved my base PlayStation upstairs for online gaming. I'm doing some Rainbow Six Siege, Modern Warfare, or whatever. That's why you will see the base PlayStation 4 here. It still works. I've cleaned it out entirely. The Xbox One S over there, all hooked up to the Elgato HD60 streaming. And of course, we can't run the studio without my troll giving you the finger once in a while, right? Which is really important. So moving on to production, this is the entire setup, right? So we're moving on to music production, I think first, and then we push on to streaming. So I am running here a TR8 for drum loops. It's the old homage of Roland to the old TR8. I'm running the new one. I think it's a fantastic machine. It integrates well from an analog standpoint, but also from a digital standpoint, how you can integrate it with USB into your computer. It just works fine to make beats. You can also easily hook it up in a live situation to use it when you are DJing and you want to give a bit more spice to your DJ. Below that is the vocal transformer, the VT3 from Roland. It's synchronized pretty well together. And I've got a Behringer, really small mixer, which in essence was recommended by Alpha Gaming, so I looked into that because I was missing some kind of a small hub to have analog instruments into it, but also hook up my mic and manipulate a bit more the mic in terms of low end frequencies, those kind of things. So I'm running this bearing. It's a very small one, and it really works extremely well. So this is the mic that is running through it. In terms of also the mic below there, I got two mics running through that, so I can manipulate that from a low end, a high end, a mid end. In the middle, I'm running a machine jam, which I'm using to create beats and loops. It's the machine on top here. That's the big black thing with the white knots. It's the machine from Native Instruments used to, on one side, manipulate Ableton. I'm using it to manipulate Ableton, but also use Native Instruments machine as a plugin in Ableton. Below that, you see the Coordinator Control 2, which is this very easy but also a very cheap tool. I think it's about $25 or something. You can easily hook it up, plug and play, and you can use it as a MIDI controller. So you can use it to manipulate on the fly your effects very quickly to different tracks you're working with in Ableton. Makes it very accessible, very handy. It's just $25, it's just nothing. So small production side here, two gaming laptops, one Logitech and one the old school one. Everything is run through this Native Instruments Audio 6 sound card, external one. This one is hooked up to my MacBook Pro. So this one is predominantly used for music production. I think the Native Instruments products this is freaking awesome. Everything is freaking awesome what Native Instruments bring from a DJ standpoint, from a production standpoint. It's just wow. So I can recommend it. The new one is out now, but this one has such a crisp, clear music performance. So moving on to the final bits and pieces. Machine Micro, also used to manipulate machine, but also used to make beats. I'm also using this once in a while in live sets, or a hybrid set between DJing, where I use Tractor and then I use machine to make beats on the fly to make a bit more spicy. Below that, you see the complete elements. This is the A25, I believe. The complete software you get is so good, so huge library of sounds. I can recommend it to all of you guys. The A25 is nothing more than a MIDI controller, right? So you hook it up and you can manipulate the software. The software integrates massively with Ableton Live. It's just a ton of possibilities not only open for you, but also a ton of new sounds open up for you. Could recommend it to you, all of you. If you're into the music business, this complete elements, which is the software running behind it, is fantastic, right? So this is in short a bit where my production for music stands, and now we're getting to the heart of it all. This is the MacBook. Let's just quickly jump into another video I have for you. So this is the MacBook Pro 16-inch model I'm running here. I will not go into the massive bits and pieces for you guys because I think most of you are more into streaming and Windows-based platforming. But I am running the 2.6 GHz 6-core Intel Core i7 with a turbo boost up to 4.5 gigahertz. For you guys, I'm not running the Core i9, Core i7. I'm really happy with macOS from a production standpoint. But this is also where the issue came from for me in the past few months. That I started to demand more and more from my streaming perspective. If you're into streaming and you got Mac, and you're not into music production, leave the Mac aside, go Windows-based platforms. As soon as I installed OBS on the Windows machine, it was a delight. It runs so smoothly, and you can see that it's highly optimized as well because the integration with Twitch, the way of manipulation you can do from OBS from your webcam perspective. Also, Elgato is instantly recognized. You need OBS Link in macOS to make it work. I suffered from glitches, frame rate drops. I suffered from, even my Xbox that was sending out a signal, all of a sudden the signal just disappeared in OBS. Those kind of bullshit things, and you need to go to the OBS forum, you need to log a ticket. You don't want that, Then, with all due respect, From a streaming and gaming perspective, go Windows. From a music production perspective, go macOS. I have the 1 TB slot in there. I don't know why it's go from left to right. This is fine. The graphics is the AMD Pro, but that's not really massively for you guys. For me, the MacBook Pro just runs smoothly. Let's get back to the video. So moving on to sound, RP6 powered. I just love the machines. I think they're fantastic. The only downside with these guys is that they have too much bass, so beware when you do that. Now moving on to the new beast, it's the HP Omen. This was a matter of debate for me, right? So let's go back to the specs I am running for this beast, right? So this is the HP Omen 8750720ND. It sets you back around 2K. And I know it, I get it. There is a huge debate that you're not a really PC gamer if you don't build your own PC, and I get that, but on the other side, if you build it or somebody builds it for you and you know what you're after, then you're fine, It's just a matter of choice. I just wanted to optimize things, so I want the best of both worlds. I want a very good optimized PC, and I wanted something I could rely on for the future. That's also a platform to build further on. If I want to change something, I want to be able to do it. I am running the AMD Ryzen 7. That was also a matter of choice, right? It was, first I was looking to the model with the i9 processor in it, which made it massively expensive. So the question you always need to ask yourself is, what do I want to accomplish with this? What do I want to do with it? I want to run Rainbow Six Siege, I want to run Apex Legends, which I've already done, and I need to learn to game on a PC. I've never done it, and it's a total different world, right? I'm struggling right now a bit in Rainbow Six Siege. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. But on the other side, I want to up my game in terms of streaming when I'm going on a PlayStation or Xbox, and I want to use OBS to the full potential. I've streamed yesterday. I had, for the first time, a solid stream. I had a solid presentation, and I had zero frame drops. Zero. I had a 1080p 60 frames per second output. Fantastic. The choice then is, do you want to go for the model of HP Omen with an Intel i7, or you want the Ryzen 7? We can go round for round, clip for clip. Some people would say I'm going for the i7. Some people are going for the AMD. There are tons of websites. Ryzen 7 fights Core, Intel, i7. I went for the AMD Ryzen 7. Why? Just make your own choice on that. It's your own choice. I got an 8 core. It's got a clock speed of 3.6 gigahertz with a turbo to 4.4, 32 gigabyte, 2x16 in terms of working memory. Video card is the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 27 Super with 8 gigabyte work. And to me, it does exactly what it needs to do. Can I go even more expensive? Yes, we can, but I don't want to. This is exactly what I need for now. Do I want to upgrade in the future? Maybe, but up until now, I've never had so much satisfaction in terms of my stream and in terms of what I can. I'm now running this video on my HP Omen. It is a delight to work with. So that is in very general the specifics of it. Let's get back to the video, guys. So that was the HP Omen, right? This is the Logitech streaming mic. I've separated this from the other mic because I was satisfied with the mic that I was using. That was the big one you see hanging above that one. But for streaming, it wasn't really working for me. Both are going to the same processing unit. LG widescreen, 124 megahertz in refresh rate. And this is just a cheap 1080p Philips one, which is only to watch the stream I'm doing and to manipulate OBS while I'm gaming, which is just a fantastic piece of machinery, right? This is a very good one, right? What I always do when I use music production is sometimes I switch to analog or normal hi-fi amplifiers just to hear the sound. It's the ear, not the gear. So this is a very cheap hi-fi from Pioneer with very old speakers. They're very old. I think the speakers are 25 years old, but they're beasts. They are beasts, both of them. And when I'm done with the production, it sounds good from a musical perspective on my workstation, then I run it through here. Now this is the final bits and pieces, guys. This is an old TV. It's a 4K Sony curved television, And this is just the old geezer environment where I am running the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, and below that you will see a very old analog Yamaha home cinema receiver, theater, whatever you want to call it. But I'm just running it because I just love the sound. This is also a very old one. I think it's 15 years old or something, but it's pure analog, no HDMI in. The sound is so good. It's so good. So, and that's it. It's the ear, not the gear. This is a 15-year-old machine. It runs so smoothly, and I'm completely in love with Yamaha all the way. I also invested in a new home cinema receiver downstairs. It's a 5.1 Dolby. It's from Yamaha. It's the ease of use. It's the sound it brings. But this analog machine, I love it. I love it. And of course, 16-bit Nintendo. Never forget your roots, guys. Never forget your roots. So, guys, this was the whole studio. I just wanted to give you some glance in the kitchen on what I'm running it, how I'm running it, and I'm really happy to take all your questions and to give you a bit more tips and tricks and pointers in the days to come. Stealth Dragon, I already heard from you to do a bit more an in-depth review on the HP Omen I showed you. I hope you already saw some specs I did in the previous video. I've got some specs here. I'm fully up to do a bit more in-depth review, but I do need a bit more time with the machine before I can give you the pros and the cons and to show you where I'm at with the machine. Up until now, I'm really satisfied with the Windows-based platform. It's 20 years since I've used Windows, so I have to get used to it. I will be back very shortly with you guys with a compilation of the stream I'm using. We're in that with Jack and with Main in Titanfall, Modern Warfare. We're into Apex and Rainbow Six Siege. The new season is coming up as well, so I'm really looking forward to share that with you guys in the coming days. I will do some editing left and right. For now, I do hope you got a good glance in the kitchen of my new studio. I'm really happy with it. We'll back with you shortly. Back to the madness.